Hello everyone, welcome back to Corruption Incorporated. I'm your host, Ionicles. Some very interesting developments last couple of days. I'm going to try to keep my voice down just a little bit because it's getting kind of late and we're not out in the wilderness here. I guess in summary, the Coinbase lawyers are freaking out. They are freaking out because I discovered that they're not on Google Maps, and I considered that to be unacceptable, and I did something about it. And now they've told me that they reported me to the FBI already, and that they're now threatening to sue me for extortion and defamation. I expected this. I didn't expect it to happen quite so quickly. But the truth is, I don't like doing this. I have said it again and again, this is not fun for me. The truth is, in my other bigger case in trial court, despite all the months and the horror of having to learn trial court procedure in under a year to make a statute of limitations for defamation claims, I have not even said, I don't think I have. I have not even said the name of the defendants in that other case. The only thing these people have that they could build an extortion case around is on February 27th, I wrote a letter to their lead lawyer, who is the one corresponding with the American Arbitration Association. This is the Coinbase case now. I'm not talking about the big trial court case, the Coinbase arbitration case. And I emailed her, and I subject line was final invitation to compromise. And I included a statement that said, if we can't come to terms, next week I'm gonna have to do what I'm gonna have to do. Now, they had no reason to believe I had an online presence at that time. They had no reason to believe, and I had never even so much as intimated having a LinkedIn profile. They had no reason to believe that this is what I intended to do, and it wasn't. All I meant was I was going to start investigating their firm and renew my investigation of their client. I didn't find out they were not on Google Maps until around March 7th, and I can prove that. And I didn't know that you can't leave Google reviews for other businesses in a building to try to put pressure on a business to stop, in my opinion, I allege, hiding from public scrutiny. I have again and again said to these people, I got nothing but love for you. I'm not your enemy, I'm your countryman, bad opponent though. But the point of me writing them more emails every day, we're up to 5 today, is to try to help them come to their senses. That, as I've said in recent episodes, there's no future in which this is not at least tantamount to urinating on their children's legacy, on the legacy of people tomorrow. This is not fun for me, and I consider these tactics to be a last resort, but I did not threaten them with this. I just did it. And the other thing is, I did say to them at one point, you're like a bunch of snot-nosed bullies on a playground to me, you lawyers. Because you think you can bully the public with your knowledge of the law. This is the whole point of this channel, is to help people start to understand is like our rights are being systematically eradicated and trampled on by people who have just enough that they can pay lawyers to deal with this stuff. And it's like they can do whatever they want. They're like a bunch of bullies. I was bullied when I was young. I was a very late bloomer. I was not on the same level physically like in middle school with the kids in my class. I was not very good at basketball. It was hard for me to hit a three-pointer even at that scale of a court. I don't like doing this. But more than I don't like doing this, I don't like the idea that, looking the other way, the way they are, has led us to this. It's deplorable. It's, to threaten me like they have. Americans deserve better. The odds of them getting a conviction on an extortion claim are very slim, and they must know that. Or a defamation claim, very slim. I have a right to my opinion. I have a right to voice my opinion in public forums. And and the things they write to me are this, I remark, again in my opinion, a really snide tone, If I was going to teach a class on law, heavens forbid, I would never want to. But if I was going to, the first thing I would teach people, and again, I can't give you legal advice, I'm not a lawyer, I'm just telling you what works, what I've learned, sharing my own personal experience. If I were going to teach a class, what I have learned is that the first thing I would teach is about extortion. Because we can't make threats like that. Pay me or else I'll expose you. Pay me or else I'll report you to this oversight agency. It's wrong. That's a crime. I know that. I know that, and that's how I know I can walk up to the line of that without crossing it. And I'm just trying to reason with these people. They're accusing me of harassment. I'm not harassing them. I sent them a bunch of emails. I changed the sender. They can put it in their junk email box, I said. You are not being forced to read this. No one's got a gun to your head forcing you to read this. No one's forcing you to watch videos on the internet. I'm going to have a sip of my tea. So, what I'm going to do here is, I expected this. It came a little sooner than I thought it would. I don't want this to be like a 30-minute video, so we'll talk more about this in future episodes. But, I'll say this first. I went to a lecture last night on how to overthrow an oligarchy. And I was really amazed at a local university where I am right now. I'm not going to say where I am right now. I've been on the road a lot in the last year, and But I was amazed. There's so many young people who get it. There's so many young people who are so upset, and they know something's wrong, and they're trying to do something. And talking about the nonviolent protests that have worked in history in different countries, and things I didn't even know happened in Brazil and South Korea. I'm reading about wonderful things where they were victorious because they got together, and it was. And it's really interesting. People who are in power and are oppressing a large population of people, it's like they don't realize the writing is on the wall. Last episode, I think I mentioned the Iranian Revolution of 1989. I was wrong about that. I'm speaking mostly from memory. It's 1979. Well, I read up on that. And the Shah of Iran, in 77, our government went there. Jimmy Carter went there. May he rest in peace. And met with the Shah. He didn't know this guy, the Shah. I think his name was Pahlavi. I'm probably not pronouncing it correctly. I apologize. I'm not meaning to mistake his name. He didn't understand that within 2 years he was going to be ousted from his position in government and forced to flee his country and have to live in exile. He didn't know that. They can't read the writing on the wall, It's like what I think I said about the English king is encrusted in gold. They're looking down their noses at everything. They don't realize I'm a bad leader. These lawyers are not getting up in the morning and going in the bathroom, looking themselves in the eye and brushing their teeth and thinking, am I a good person or am I a bad lawyer? They're not thinking that. It makes sense to them the way my cat used to try to open the round doorknob with his paws. And I'd be like, dude, you don't have opposable thumbs. You're never going to do that in 100 years. They don't get it. That's why I'm doing this. Tomorrow's 6 emails, then 7, then 8, then 9, then 10. Just make sure we're still filming here. The other day yeah, we are. Okay. The other day I was like 15 minutes in and the phone died. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read you this absurd, this ridiculous cease and desist letter, and then I'm going to show you what I think of it. This is from on company letterhead. Maybe you can see, maybe you can't. Bowman Croup Bossy. A funny name for a law firm, in my opinion. I'm entitled to my opinion. I can say that it's my opinion. I'm not saying as a fact it's a funny name. The only things here, by the way, I'm representing as fact are that Coinbase is corrupt because I got like 1,000 screenshots of them taking my money, of them after they're saying trades are completed, altering the prices of my assets. I got an ocean of proof that my interests were not on equal footing with theirs, which is called horizontal commonality, but they were subservient to their interests. That's called vertical commonality, and that's what it takes to prove securities fraud, I've learned. And I'm also representing it as fact that this law firm, Bowman Croup Bossy, is not on Google Maps. Other than that, I have made it very clear this is my opinion, and they address that claim in here. And listen to this, and I want you to pay attention if you can. I know I talk a lot and there's a lot to say, there's a lot of information to give to you. I want you to try to pay attention to the tone here. And I want you to, if you can, think about the idea of a double standard as you listen to this. There's a double standard being employed here. It's okay for their client, for instance, to keep stealing from millions of people, I allege, but it's not okay for me to do what I'm doing. And they're telling me I'm liable for civil charges. Pay attention to that. Because the claim that it's my opinion is something that would have to be decided in court. So just keep an ear out for that, okay? It says March 12th, 2025, first class mail and email. Ionicles E. Rhodes Oxander, old address in LA. Regarding the name of the case, me versus Coinbase Incorporated, AAA case number, AAA American Arbitration Association, not Auto Club, number 01-24-0008-0696. Dear Mr. Rhodes Oxander, I am writing this letter to formally demand an immediate stop to your attempts at harassment, intimidation, and criminal extortion in connection with the above referenced arbitration proceeding. As you know, Bowman Croup Bossy PLLC, in parentheses, quote, BKB, end quote, end parentheses, represents respondent Coinbase Incorporated, parentheses, quote, Coinbase, end parentheses, end quote, in an arbitration you recently filed in the American Arbitration Association as case number 01-24-0008-0696, parentheses, the arbitration, end parentheses. You have been publicly posting false, threatening, and defamatory statements online about the arbitration, Coinbase, BKB, and its attorneys, such as 1, a post on your LinkedIn page under the name Elliot Rhodes on or about March 10, 2025, in which you tagged BKB and made defamatory comments. 2, a March 10, 2025 comment on a LinkedIn post made by a BKB attorney celebrating a promotion. And 3, a YouTube video also dated March 10, 2025 entitled Poco Loco Talks Episode 7. In addition, on March 10 and 11, 2025, you sent multiple email communications to a BKB attorney and to Coinbase employees intended to threaten, harass, and intimidate them in a misguided belief that it will somehow affect the outcome of your pending arbitration or induce them to settle. You have also threatened to continue, and have continued, an ongoing harassment campaign by email. This letter serves as a formal demand that you immediately cease and desist from making or publishing any further false, defamatory, threatening, or harassing communications about Coinbase, its employees, the arbitration, BKB, or any BKB attorneys. In this regard, your public assertion that your comments are protected opinion is rejected. Among other things, you stated publicly that Coinbase and its attorneys are part of an organized crime racket, and you made additional threats. We demand that you promptly delete or remove all such existing public communications relating in any way to Coinbase or BKB, including, parentheses, without limitation, end parentheses, those identified above. Your behavior, which is at least attempted extortion under California's criminal law, see California Penal Code Section 524, is unacceptable and will not be tolerated. And this is in bold, your communications and extortion attempts have been reported to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, parentheses FBI, as if I didn't know that, and the FBI will be updated about any of your additional threats or extortion attempts. Coinbase, BKB, and BKB's individual attorneys reserve all of their rights to pursue legal action against you, both criminal and civil, to the fullest extent of the law. If you have any questions, you can contact the undersigned directly. Sincerely, Maria Jones. Maria spelled Marya. If I'm mispronouncing it, Ms. Jones, I am sincerely sorry. I've never seen that spelling before. It looks like Maria. Well, did you notice what I was talking about? My opinion, my assertion that my comments are protected opinion is rejected. Well, your assertion that this is harassment is rejected. That's for a court to decide. I'm not harassing you. You have to wake up. I've said to you loud and clear that the word on the street among the college kids in this town, and I hear young people talking about, is they're celebrating an assassin. The lesson of history is that there is no oppression of a large population by a small that does not result in violent overthrow, and I don't want to see that happen to you. I'm thinking about your well-being and your kids. It's not harassment, but it is speaking truth to power. And while I was writing one of these emails to these people tonight, someone in a cafe where I was writing it said out loud the words, "Speaking truth to power is a form of compassion. Amen." So here's what I think of your cease and desist letter. And the first thing I wrote them back after I got this was, "Bring it on," in all capitals. And here's what I think of your letter. This is exactly what I think of this nonsense. I am lighting it on fire. I've got a can here, try to keep the damage to the minimum. That's what I think of your cease and desist letter, BKB. Ooh. Popcorn and the scent of burning paper. What an interesting combination. I respectfully disobey. I disobey. That sticks. Because you people don't get it. You're as foolish, in my opinion, as the Shah of Iran in the 1970s, mid-1970s. You don't see what's coming here. So, you can do whatever you want. You can report me to the FBI. You can take a picture. You can write a book about it. I don't care. This has gone too far. It's gone too far. It's so bad in this country that look at how much they're freaking out. And here's the really crazy thing I said to them. Even if you navigated all these hurdles, and even if you were going to drop $10,000 to $50,000 to take me to court, Coinbase, the lawyers, and me all live in different states. Well, when I was working on the Coldwell Banker Compass case, I learned something called the universal diversity exception. Again, if memory serves, not giving you advice. If all parties in a case are from different states, then one party cannot compel jurisdiction in civil state court. There's something called the universal diversity exception. I'm 95% sure my memory is correct on that. That case has to be brought in federal court. Even to approach a federal court is a whole other bag of cats. And they don't hear many cases. Their focus is very narrow. The odds of them hearing a case like this are slim to none. The other thing is, even if that isn't true, and they could compel my appearance, I can't afford to go to Delaware where Coinbase is based. I can't afford to go to Virginia. They're a company. They got a lot of money. They would have to come to where I am. I could make a motion for a change of venue and it would almost certainly be granted. Oof, I can't believe this is still burning. It's like keeping time with me. Whew. I don't smoke. Ugh. Even if they got over all of that, or they hired a proxy to do, as I put it, their dastardly bidding, in my opinion, the odds of them winning, especially when you consider the look, I said, on a jury's faces when they're in the midst of finding out they've been dragged away from their families and their careers to hear and give a verdict on a case that at one point could have been settled for less than $3,000. They would be against them from the start. And since the whole corporate world turns on profit and loss thinking, the odds of success are too slim to justify the effort. It would be like 2 years, even if there's an appeal, possibly even longer. The odds of them actually doing this, it being worthwhile, and the cost of it, and the odds of them recovering their fees from someone like me who's had his life turned upside down so many times, can barely even tell which direction is up anymore, are slim to none. They're not going to do this. It's a bluff. But it works on some people. They're counting on our complacency. They're counting on us to roll over, just like snot-nosed bullies on a playground. Well, I have had it with this. I have had it. It has gone too far. It's got to be addressed now. Because as I say again, there's no way this works out where they don't come to their senses somehow and their children don't suffer. And they just don't want to have to rub shoulders with the idea that they're not great people. The money is really good. I've talked to high-powered law firms, and you know how much they charge? Like $700 to $1,000 an hour. And this person, Maria Jones, probably maybe, I don't know, it's not a fact, I'm speculating, with this snide tone in these things that I remark, to my opinion, I maybe got a stern talking to because she wrote me an email where she lied straight to me and said she's in charge of the case. But then this other person, Allison Melton, is the one corresponding with the American Arbitration Association. This Maria Jones is not in charge. I said this to her. You have been, I said, don't you dare ever lie to me again. Don't you ever waste my time like that again. You are not in charge. You have been tasked or instructed, ordered to deal with me because Ms. Melton is a big, expensive, important lawyer, isn't she? And she can't be bothered with quotidian matters like speaking to the great pro se unwashed or whatever they think of people like us who would stand alone for truth and justice. But again, look at the other case. Have I done this with the other case despite what I went through? So much worse the other case. I'd be able to bring that into court and say, I am in no way intending to do this. This is a last resort. And what set me off is I spent 3 hours reviewing all these other businesses in their building, and I found out that Google has algorithms that keep that from being seen. I wasted all this time, a whole afternoon. It's Friday, March 8th, I think. I got the template of this saved on my phone because I was just copying and pasting. But I didn't know. I had to learn a hard knock lesson. And this really set me off because I was like, the audacity of these people to not be on Google Maps. And to potentially even know, or they know now, because I found out there's not a single positive review of Coinbase at their headquarters. Not a single one. And I know, I will admit, my information about Coinbase, I should say this, is a bit dated. But the reviews on Coinbase HQ are not. They're not 3 or 4 years old. So there's no reason for me to believe that anything has changed. Maybe they got a little bit better at hiding it. I don't know. But I do know that they are committing fraud because I can prove it. I can prove it 10 times over. My interests were not on equal footing with theirs. That means they were selling unregistered securities, and they were rigging the game. It's like I played Monopoly with them. It's their Monopoly game. They invite me to play, and I land on Indiana Avenue, or they land on Indiana Avenue. I got 2 houses there, and they owe me whatever. I don't remember. I haven't played that in a long time. $120, something like that. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry. It's only $12. You know. And we're like, wait, but that's not what it says. Oh, well, I'm sorry, that's not how it works. It's only worth 12. You know, I mean, really, after the fact, trade completed, I would go on there and screenshot, and then screenshot again a second later, and the value of my asset would change after they said it was completed in Coinbase's favor, again and again and again and again. And I got their first lawyer on the record in an arbitration hearing. And I'm not going to say her name because that's over and done with. I'm not trying to defame her. You know, I didn't like working with her. She, I would allege, beguiled this old dottery arbitrator and confused him. He didn't understand finance. I had to waste all my time explaining finance. But she's on the record saying it's all monopoly money, basically. She didn't use that phrase, but she's saying it has nothing to do with the price of the dollar. The Coinbase lawyer I worked with previously went on the record in a hearing, in a merits hearing, the result of this same situation going to completion, saying it has nothing to do with the price of the dollar. Well, don't you think the public would like to know that? Stay away from Coinbase is what I say to these lawyers, please. And if you work in the consumer litigation department, it's one of the email addresses I'm sending to now. Please, I offered to help them polish their resume, find a new job. I'm eagerly and willing to help them. Coinbase should become a pariah among us. No one should go around and go near companies like this, or Coldwell Banker, or Compass, who I can also prove are corrupt. Don't care about people. They want to make me the bad guy, while they're complicit and contributing to not only the destruction of public trust, but the moral downfall and degradation of an entire species, an entire global society. And they're so busy looking down their noses at me, they don't realize what this is. They don't realize how dangerous this is. People are upset. Young people are upset. What America means is tyranny and oppression, not on my watch. That's what it means. If you're not like that, my opinion is you're not a very good American. No matter what you believe, no matter whom you voted for. Peace be with you all, especially these lawyers. I'm going to go now. I bet that's 20-something minutes probably. 28 minutes. This is a good one, though, tonight. I enjoyed this. Why shouldn't I enjoy my work? It's all I got left anyway. I mean, it's almost all I got left. I'm sorry for these people, and I'm sorry for all people living today. Here's to a brighter future. Here's to these people coming back into the fold of ethical behavior. I really wish I could talk to Brian Armstrong. I wish I could talk to the CEOs of these companies. I wish I could talk to Kamini Lane, who runs Coldwell Banker. Jason Waugh, I think is his name, was also a president at Coldwell Banker. Robert Refkin, Ori Allen, leaders of Compass Realty. I wish I could talk to them on the phone, audio conference call. Just talk to them. I don't want to yell at them. Like, guys, come on. This you can't. This is unsustainable. It's untenable. You can't do this to people. You're not going to get away with it. It's going to end in violence. It always has in history. I don't want that. You call it harassment all you want. I don't care anymore. Bring it on. I'll fight you all. Call me Optimus Prime. I'll take you all on. Until next time, faithfully yours, your brother and fellow American. See you all very soon. Good night.